Top of the morning to you 19,000.7 Awakening Warriors. This is Revolution. In this video we are going to be talking about Vegeta's Ultra Ego and whether or not the same prince can eventually achieve somewhat akin to a true Ultra Ego, very similar to the sense that Goku's achieved a true Ultra Instinct, or even an advancement on his Ultra Ego. As you can look at Goku once again, he has many different states of Ultra Instinct, Ultra Instinct Sign, Mastered Ultra Instinct, Complete Ultra Instinct, Perfected Ultra Instinct, True Ultra Instinct, you name it. There's so many terms going around now with Ultra Instinct, but with Vegeta, he's only had one arc and he's only just unlocked this transformation. Can Vegeta find a way to infuse this God of Destruction Hakai power that comes with Ultra Ego into his being and into even other forms? And how does Ultra Ego systematically and functionally work for Vegeta? I did do a video quite recently called All Forms of Ultra Instinct. Has UI gotten stronger? Guys, this video got a lot of plaudits, a lot of positive feedback. If you haven't checked this video out, I believe this video concerning Ultra Instinct is one of the most in-depth dissections of Ultra Instinct. And now, I don't mean to brag, but I was one of the first people to say, look, Ultra Instinct is not a flagship power level. It is not the be-all, end-all transformation. And I said this against a tide of opposing viewpoints. I turned out to be right, and it's that led me to understand how this form would ideologically progress throughout the oncoming series. Hopefully from this point we can do the same with Vegeta as well. It's in its early stages, but let's take a look. But before we start, guys, if you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you click that subscribe button and the bell button next to it, and you'll be notified whenever I release new content. Chapter 92 is about to drop. We should get the Piccolo conversation with Korin that talks about the Gammas, as well as the events on Beerus' planet, where Vegeta talks about Jiren's power. Lots to talk about, so make sure you subscribed and all notifications clicked on, and make sure you do smash a like on the video if you enjoy Dragon Ball content. So guys, obviously you're probably wondering why Beerus is in the thumbnail to this video. Now there is a reason for that. Beerus represents what you could say is an end goal of Ultra Ego. With Vegeta, what we essentially have is the novice stage of Ultra Ego. As Vegeta states against Granola, he cannot reach the God of Destruction like power that Beerus demonstrated to him, even though that was only a small part of Beerus' power in the training before the events on Planet Cereal. The best correlation we have in series that is relevant to Vegeta's Ultra Ego form is Goku's Ultra Instinct. Of course, Goku has achieved Ultra Instinct many arcs ago now in the Tournament of Power. The only difference between the Tournament of Power Ultra Instinct and Vegeta's Ultra Ego in the Granola arc is, of course, that Vegeta can actually access this form at will, whereas Goku couldn't access Ultra Instinct at will till the Moro arc, essentially, in his fight against Moro. But this version of Vegeta's form, you would imagine, is at a very similar level in terms of its development as what Goku had in the Tournament of Power in its novice stage, whereas Goku's Ultra Instinct has developed beyond that in the subsequent arcs after training with Beerus and then unlocking it fully in the Moro arc, and then training with Whis and then utilizing it again in the Granola arc. Of course, Goku had problems with Silverhead Ultra Instinct in the Granola arc, but its development is much further along than Vegeta's Ultra Ego. Now you could say that Vegeta had a bit of training with Beerus prior to this unlocking of the form. He was able to use Hakai at a very low level. Vegeta can technically use Hakai, which is one of the benefits of this Ultra Ego form, in say his base Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Blue, just as Goku can now use Ultra Instinct-like qualities in base Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Blue, and so forth. However, what Vegeta doesn't get in those forms that Goku ultimately gets with Ultra Instinct is the mastery of self-movement aspect, the enhanced reflexes when he uses Ultra Instinct alongside the other forms that aren't the Silverhead Ultra Instinct. Vegeta doesn't quite get the benefit of getting stronger and that limitless power that Beerus talks about with Destruction, which we'll get to later in this video. There's lots of interesting aspects to this particular form. Even though I'm not fully sold on this form, I think it looks brilliant, by the way. Aesthetically, I think Ultra Ego looks fantastic. However, I'm not fully sold on this form yet. I think it's still got that development to undergo until it essentially becomes a form that's, you can say, that's a formidable form. With Ultra Instinct, you feel like it's a formidable form. Not unbeatable like some people try to pretend it was, but formidable. I digress. Ultimately, what I'm trying to say is, when I say Vegeta can't access that limitless power, I mean in his base form, Super Saiyan God. Just like Goku can access mastery of self movement in those forms, now he's trained with Whis. And Whis is even trying to insinuate that Goku needs to infuse Ultra Instinct into his base form essentially as the end goal rather than equating it to a transformation. I believe that will be a similar thing to what Beerus will try to get Vegeta to do, rather than him transform into Ultra Ego, that he can just use destruction at such a high level even in his base. After all, Vegeta unlocked Ultra Ego against Granola. He didn't know he had a transformation that was on its way. Beerus didn't propose that there was a Saiyan transformation of Ultra Ego. Beerus was just teaching Vegeta the correct application of Hakai. After all, we know that Goku had a similar technique against Zamasu, but it wasn't quite Hakai. Vegeta was just learning Hakai. He wasn't learning a transformation to learn Hakai. I imagine Beerus will teach Vegeta a similar thing, not to equate Hakai and the level of Hakai and the limitless power of Hakai with a transformation, and maybe that's Vegeta's future. Obviously, it's to be determined yet, and obviously we do know Vegeta is on Beerus's planet in the superhero arc, learning how to get the level of efficiency that Jiren had in the Tournament of Power to get full maximization of his power, which leads me into obviously one of the major components of Vegeta's Ultra Ego put forward in the Granola arc, and that is that one of the aspects of this package transformation, because I believe this is a package transformation just like Ultra Instinct, it's not just a regular power-up or a mere power-up as Beerus stated Super Saiyan Blue was, when he fought complete Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta at the beginning of the Universal Survival arc in the manga. One of the things about Ultra Ego is that for it to get stronger, he has to take damage. If he takes damage, he gets stronger. So the more damage he takes, the stronger he gets. We saw this against Granola. Vegeta stated it many times, even stated it again against Gas, that the more they hit him, the hotter his battle desire burned. And I guess you could say that tapped into his Saiyan instinct more naturally than Ultra Instinct tapped into Goku's Saiyan instincts, which is why he had to revert to the true Ultra Instinct form, or a emotion powered Ultra Instinct sign, I guess you could call it. But I guess you could say that Ultra Ego is more synergistic with Vegeta's Saiyan traits than Ultra Instinct is with Goku's Saiyan traits. So that's why Vegeta didn't particularly have to, find a different method against Gas. He was just getting stronger against Gas by taking hits. However, taking hits, especially against a stronger opponent, is also a pretty damn stupid approach to take. Unless you really surpass that opponent with how much you're getting stronger, then you're going to get defeated, because eventually you're going to take too many critical hits to the point where your body literally just gives up on you. And that's what happened to Vegeta against Granola, and then it eventually happened against Gas. He couldn't fight on anymore, despite the fact he was actually getting stronger in terms of his destructive capacity and his attacking potency. But these Ultra forms, both of them, the two that we know of so far, Ultra Instinct and Ultra Ego, and I really wouldn't be that surprised if Gohan Beast or even Piccolo's Orange form have some sort of ultra-like qualities to them, but we don't really know that yet. But for these two forms, they both have the ability to get stronger. I know Saiyans can get stronger anyway through adaptation and Zenkai boosts, but these two Ultra forms seem to have a limitless growth in power if they're utilised right. With Goku, it relies on his heart staying calm. With Hakai, it relies on thinking further and deeper about destruction. So Ultra Instinct deeper into calmness, Ultra Ego deeper into destruction. It's just about going deeper, guys. That's what she said. But ultimately, I think at the moment with the Ultra Ego transformation, the trigger for Vegeta to get deeper into the mind state of a God of Destruction, into that Hakai destructive mode, is for him to take damage, because that ignites his hunger for battle and the heat of battle, if you get what I mean. So it almost makes him want to destroy his opponent, and maybe that's what's triggering the allowance of him to attain a higher level of destruction, allowing him to enter this mind state transformation that Ultra Ego is. I said before when we first saw Ultra Instinct in the anime that Ultra Instinct is a mind state transformation. It's a state of mind that Goku accesses that allows him to enter mastery of self movement. Ultra Ego works exactly the same. Once he enters that state of mind, he can use destruction to a much greater capacity, and that mind state is basically just wanting to fuck over his opponent and allowing him to access this heightened level of God Ki. As we know, the Ultra forms have a heightened or ascended level of God Ki to the regular God Ki that they utilize in Super Saiyan God and Super Saiyan Blue. So as mentioned, Beerus, obviously one of the strongest Gods of Destructions. We saw in the God of Destruction exhibition match in the manga that Beerus and Cutella are likely the two strongest Gods of Destructions. They can likely use Hakai to the greatest degree. Beerus can use other Ultra-like abilities as well. He's got semi-Ultra Instinct. His wielding of Hakai is particularly potent. Even a small part of his power basically blew the mind of Goku and Vegeta before the Granola arc, even though the feat wasn't really that impressive. But I don't think particularly Toyotaro and Toriyama care about destructive capacity feats. I think that's more of a fandom thing, especially the cross-verse battle fandoms that cover things like Goku vs Superman, which I will be covering again soon, by the way, guys. Those type of cross-verse battles will be coming back to the channel. Make sure you subscribe. And oh, guys, it won't just be anime versus comics either. I will be covering other anime and manga. And if you know anything about One Piece at the minute, you know it's coming. Gear 5. That transformation is wild. I'll be covering that on this channel very soon. But back to Dragon Ball, as this channel will always be mostly about Dragon Ball. Beerus has the highest level of destruction, and the way he wields it is different to how Vegeta wields it in Ultra Ego. He doesn't appear to need to take damage to increase his level of destruction to reach those limitless levels. Now let me just clear up what Beerus means by limitless. He doesn't mean that he has limitless access to power. Initially, he does have a baseline power, but he can limitlessly increase it during battle the more he thinks about destruction. If he had true limitless power, he wouldn't be getting defeated by people like Whis. He'd be the strongest, essentially. Now, I know he's the strongest in Universe 7 and the strongest God of Destruction, most likely, but there are beings that are stronger than him in the Dragon Ball verse. The better way to phrase it is that, and Vegeta uses this phrase later on in the arc, is that they are no longer bound by limits. That doesn't mean they have access to limitless power as they are. But his limitless power, the way he gets stronger, as Vegeta also does by thinking more about destruction, even though Vegeta needs the trigger of taking damage, Beerus just does it by naturally thinking. Now, he's likely done this through millions of years of training, to where it's become a natural process for Beerus. And it likely is at that stage for the other Gods of Destructions as well. I don't know if Toppo, who's a God of Destruction candidate in Universe 11, has any access to Hakai power, but it's likely he's even more of a novice than Vegeta was, considering we didn't get to see any of it during the Tournament of Power, in the manga at least. It would be definitely interesting to see how they address that if the anime returns. Beerus can access this kind of trigger of deepening the state of destruction without taking any damage. That's where Vegeta's got to get to, I think, if he wants to reach true Ultra Ego or true Hakai power, and that's why Beerus is in the thumbnail of this video. Now, in terms of the efficient part of that thumbnail, then this is more of a projection of where I think he's trying to go with Ultra Ego, and obviously that's referring to the events in the superhero movie and the likely adaptation of that in the manga, where he's trying to think about what Jiren did to maximize his power output, and that should go hand in hand and be quite synergistic with Ultra Ego as well, using his destructive power. I think that's the next step for Vegeta in terms of that power. Beerus also commended him on the improvements he'd made by just basically trying to become more efficient and doing that type of training as well. He noted that it was subtle, but there were notable differences in the way he was fighting against Goku, even in his base form. So it goes back to that infusing these heightened powers. You could say Jiren's efficiency was ultra level efficiency. It's about infusing these types of powers with the base forms, the Super Saiyan forms, the Super Saiyan God forms. After all, none of the Gods of Destructions had transformations in the Xeno Battle Royale match, so essentially it would be better for Goku and Vegeta to be able to not equate these abilities, these techniques, these power-ups as transformations. But they have these transformations due to their Saiyan genetics, because I do believe Ultra Ego and Ultra Instinct are Saiyan genetic forms for them, and they are exclusive to Saiyans. If a Saiyan can get to the level where they can achieve these types of abilities and transformations, but these transformations need to be used as a last ditch effort against a strong opponent rather than being completely relied on. And I think that was mostly what the Granola arc was about. Stop relying on these forms and find ways to beat your opponent. And just before I finish up and ask your opinions on all this down in the comment section, guys, I think what would make this form better for me is if they could give us a bit of an example of why Destruction is so much more potent than regular Ki. I know we're told it is, but when we see Ultra Ego Vegeta still lose to somebody who we assume still just has regular Ki in Granola, what about his hakai power equalized or was more advantageous than having just regular Ki at a similar level? Because I don't think that quite came across against Granola. I know it destroys the matter completely and therefore it no longer exists, whereas regular Ki doesn't quite do that. It just breaks all the bonds of that matter. But if your end goal is just to defeat an opponent, does it really matter which version of those keys you have? And I think that's a big problem a lot of people have with Super at the minute. We were advocated to that God Ki was better than regular Ki, yet all these characters with regular Ki seem to be matching these God Ki level opponents. I think we need some sort of justification on why God Ki is definitely better than these types of regular Ki that others possess, like Gohan, maybe even Piccolo, Jiren, Granola, Moro, Broly. There's quite a lot of characters now that can match Goku and Vegeta despite their learning of God Ki, even without God Ki. God Ki is just losing its value, and I think not only does God Ki need to regain its value, especially with these Ultra forms and the ascended level of God Ki that these forms have, I think especially for Ultra Ego, they need to add value to why he uses Destruction rather than regular Ki. So to sum up, if you say that Ultra Ego is a package transformation just like Ultra Instinct, and the functionality of Ultra Instinct, as discussed in that video I mentioned earlier, which you must go and check out after this video if you've not seen it yet, is that Ultra Instinct has Mastery of Self movement, which comes with precognition, it comes with enhanced reflexes, speed hacks, it even lands critical hits, it has enhanced timing, it gets sturdy to adapt to the opponent, the calmer and deeper into the state of Ultra Instinct you get, the stronger you get, as well as just the power up that comes with the silver-haired form. It comes with a lot of things really, whereas the functionality of Ultra Ego seems to be that it can use Destruction, which can destroy matter from existence. Rather than getting weaker when you take damage, you actually get stronger providing it's not a critical hit, as well as the fact that, as well as a huge amp in power when achieving Ultra Ego, probably greater than that of Blue to Ultra Instinct. Obviously this form's still in its infancy, so there's not as much with Ultra Ego as there is with Ultra Instinct at the moment in terms of its functionality, but I believe the efficiency method that he's trying out in Superhero is going to give us an idea of where this form's going to lead. Some of these things are projections and just my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments section. That's what I do this channel for. I want to open dialogue and discussions and dialectic concerning these topics, and we can all come together with all our thoughts and add to the discussion so we can get to a clearer answer. Drop your thoughts down in the comment section. I look forward to reading them. As always, make sure you're subscribed. Have a great day. Until next time, Ad Astra.